The system is starting. You have been chosen to hear this. It is not by accident. In a world filled with noise, where everyone is quick to speak, quick to judge, you are being invited into a space of sacred silence, or a place where there is no opinion, no pressure, no expectations. It is just you and the voice that truly needs to be heard. Today, I have not come to add noise to your life. I have come to remind you, it is in silence that your soul is healed, and your mission begins.
Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every man's life when the silence in his home speaks louder than the noise of the world. He wakes up to an empty room, walks through a house filled with echoes, and sits at a table where no one waits for him. The world around him rushes forward. Couples holding hands, laughter in the air, love stories unfolding before his eyes. Yet he walks a different path, not because he cannot love, but because life has led him to a place where he must stand alone. Loneliness is not always a choice, but how a man faces it defines his strength. There are those who believe that without a partner, without a hand to hold, without a voice calling their name in the night, life is incomplete. But what if I told you that the solitude of one man can hold more power than the distractions of 1,000 voices? What if I told you that in the quiet, in the stillness, in the moments where no one watches? This is not a story of despair, nor is it a cry for sympathy. This is a story of resilience, of faith, of a man who chooses to walk this road with his head held high, knowing that his worth is not determined by whether someone stands beside him, because when the world says you need someone to complete you, there is a deeper voice whispering, you are already whole. There is a common misunderstanding in the world today that being alone is a sign of weakness. People often assume that a man who lives without a partner, without a girlfriend, without someone constantly by his side, must be lacking something, must be incomplete, must be in need of fixing. But the truth is far greater than that. Solitude is not a burden, it is a gift. It is not a sign of weakness, it is a training ground for strength. Think of the great men in history, the ones who changed the course of the world. They were not always surrounded by crowds. Many of them walked alone for long seasons of their lives. They spent time in deep thought, in prayer, in reflection. They did not fear the silence because they understood that silence is where strength is built. It is in solitude that a man truly meets himself, where he faces his deepest fears, his greatest doubts, and his most powerful dream. When a man is alone, he is given the opportunity to develop something that many never will: inner resilience. In the noise of companionship, it is easy to lean on others, to let their voices drown out the whispers of his own soul. But when he walks alone, he has no choice but to listen. He hears his own thoughts, his own struggles, his own questions about life. And in that process, he learns to stand firm. He learns to be his own anchor, his own foundation, his own guide. This kind of strength is not found in crowds. It is not developed in constant company. It is forged in the fire of solitude. It is in the quiet moments when no one is watching that a man discovers what he is truly made of. He learns that his worth is not determined by who loves him, who stands beside him, or who calls his name in the night. His worth is found in his character, his integrity, his ability to walk forward even when no one is cheering him on. Society has painted a picture that a man without a woman is somehow lost, but what if he is not lost at all? What if instead he is being refined? What if his solitude is not an accident but a divine appointment? What if this time alone is not meant to break him but to build him? The world sees a man sitting alone and assumes he is lonely. But what if he is sitting in the presence of something greater? What if he is listening to a voice that others are too distracted to hear? Strength is not found in the easy places. It is not built in comfort. It is shaped in the moments where a man has to face himself, where he has to wrestle with his own thoughts, where he has to decide who he will be when no one else is looking. A man who learns to stand strong in solitude is a man who cannot be shaken. When the storms of life come, he has already faced his greatest battles alone, and he has won. Think of the warrior who trains in the mountains far away from the noise of the city. He does not need an audience. He does not require applause. He trains in silence, knowing that when the time comes, he will be ready. He does not question his purpose simply because he walks alone. He knows that his strength is being built in the hidden places, in the moments no one sees. And so it is with a man who lives alone. His life is not empty, it is full of preparation. His days are not wasted, they are being used to refine him. He is not without direction, he is being led in ways that only those who embrace solitude can understand. He is learning patience, discipline, focus. He is developing a kind of strength that is unshakable, that is not dependent on circumstances or people. There will be times when doubt creeps in, when the world's voice tries to convince him that he is missing out, that he is somehow incomplete. But those who know the power of solitude do not give in to those lies. They understand that true strength is not found in being surrounded by people, but in knowing who you are when you stand alone. A man who embraces solitude is not running from love, he is preparing for something deeper. He is not afraid of companionship. He is simply not desperate for it. He knows that his value is not tied to his relationship status. His worth is not measured by who chooses him. His identity is not wrapped up in whether he is alone or not. This kind of man walks with confidence, not because he has everything, but because he knows that what he lacks does not define him. He is aware that solitude is not a curse, but a season of growth. He does not waste his days longing for someone to complete him. Instead, he uses his days to become complete within himself. And when the world looks at him, when they wonder how he can stand so strong, how he can walk with such purpose despite being alone, they will see the truth. They will see that solitude is not a sign of weakness. It is a training ground for strength. It is where a man is made, where his heart is tested, where his soul is refined. The man who learns to stand alone is the man who will never be shaken, no matter what life brings. Loneliness was never meant to be a punishment. What if the moments of solitude were not signs of something missing, but invitations to something greater? When a man finds himself alone, he stands at a crossroads. He can either see his solitude as an unbearable burden, something to escape at any cost, or he can embrace it as a season of growth, a time of refinement, a sacred space where he can discover the depths of his own soul. Those who run from loneliness often run from themselves. They distract themselves with people, with noise, with anything that will keep them from sitting in silence and facing the deeper questions of life. But those who are brave enough to embrace solitude, to lean into the silence, to listen to what their heart is truly saying, these are the men who grow. These are the men who become strong, not just in body, but in mind, in spirit, and wisdom. Loneliness has a way of revealing who a man really is. When no one else is around to affirm him, to validate him, to tell him what to do, he is left with nothing but himself, and in that space, he must decide who he is without the influence of a relationship, without the expectations of others shaping his identity. He has the rare opportunity to strip away everything false and come face to face with his true self. This is where faith is tested. When a man is alone, he can no longer rely on the comfort of another person's presence to keep him stable. He must turn to something deeper, something eternal. He must find his grounding in faith, in a belief that he is not truly alone, that there is a greater purpose behind his solitude. It is in these moments that he learns to trust, to listen, to seek something beyond the physical world. Some of the greatest men in history have walked through long seasons of solitude. They withdrew from the world not because they were weak, but because they understood that true strength is built in the quiet places. They knew that in order to lead, in order to make an impact, in order to become who they were meant to be, they had to first find themselves in the stillness. They did not fear being alone because they knew that solitude was a classroom where wisdom is taught. A man who embraces loneliness as an opportunity rather than a curse begins to see life differently. He no longer views himself as someone who is missing out, but as someone who is being prepared. He understands that this season of being alone is not about what he lacks, but about what he is gaining. He is gaining clarity. He is gaining inner peace. He is gaining a deeper understanding of himself and of the world around him. It is in solitude that a man can refine his thoughts, sharpen his vision, and strengthen his character. When there are no distractions, when there is no one else to impress, he has the freedom to be honest with himself. He can evaluate his values, his beliefs, his goals. He can ask himself the hard questions. What do I truly want? What do I truly believe? Who am I when no one else is watching? These are the questions that many people avoid their entire lives. They stay busy, they jump from one relationship to the next. They fill their days with constant activity so that they never have to stop and think. But a man who is willing to embrace solitude, to sit in the quiet and wrestle with these questions, will come out stronger, wiser, and more at peace than those who spend their lives running from loneliness. Faith is not something that grows in comfort. It is not something that develops when everything is going well, when a man is surrounded by love and companionship. Faith is built in the moments when he has nothing else to rely on, when he must stand alone and trust that there is something greater holding him up. Faith is what carries a man through the seasons of solitude, reminding him that he is never truly alone, that even in the silence he is being watched over, guided. Self-awareness is another gift that comes with embracing loneliness. When a man has time to reflect, to truly understand himself, he becomes more secure in who he is. He no longer seeks approval from others because he has already approved of himself. He no longer fears rejection because he knows his worth does not depend on anyone else's opinion. This kind of self-awareness creates confidence, not the shallow confidence that comes from external validation, but a deep, unshakable confidence that comes from knowing exactly who you are. A man who has spent time alone, who has faced himself, who has taken the opportunity to grow in faith and self-awareness, is a man who is ready for anything. He is not desperate for a relationship because he has already built a full and meaningful life on his own. He is not afraid of being alone because he has learned to enjoy his own company. He does not feel the need to prove anything to anyone because he has already proven to himself that he is strong, capable, and whole. The world often views loneliness as a problem that needs to be solved, but the truth is, loneliness is an invitation. It is an opportunity to step into something greater, to develop a deeper relationship with oneself and with God, to refine one's purpose and prepare for the future. It is not an absence, but a gift, a space in which a man can grow in ways that he never could if he were constantly surrounded by people. So when a man finds himself alone, he should not see it as a punishment. He should not rush to fill the space with meaningless distractions. Instead, he should embrace it, use it, cherish it, because in that solitude he will find something far greater than he ever imagined. He will find himself. The world watches him, wondering why he is not desperate for a relationship, questioning how he can be content in solitude. But in their curiosity, they see the truth. He is not empty, not waiting for someone to complete him. He is already whole, already strong, already living with purpose. If love enters his life, it will not be because he needed it to survive, but because he was already thriving and found someone who was doing the same. Love for him is not a desperate search for completion, but an extension of the wholeness he has cultivated within himself. A man's peace should never be dependent on another person. In a world that relentlessly promotes the idea that happiness comes from being with someone, that fulfillment is tied to relationships, true strength lies in standing alone and saying, my peace does not depend on anyone but me. Too many people place the burden of their inner peace on someone else, expecting another to bring them happiness, to heal their emotional wounds, to calm their storms. But a man who understands his worth, who has built his life on a foundation stronger than fleeting emotions, knows that peace is internal, something no one else can give or take away. Peace is not found in another person, it is found within. A man who relies on others for emotional stability will always be at the mercy of their actions. If they love him, he is happy. If they leave him, he is broken. If they approve of him, he feels worthy. If they reject him, he feels lost. But this is not peace, this is dependency. And a man who lives in dependency can never truly be free. True peace is unshakable. It is not built on relationships, emotions, or circumstances, but on a foundation that remains steady despite life's changes. A man who has found true peace within himself is not shaken by loneliness. He does not rush into relationships to escape solitude, nor does he seek validation from others because he has already validated himself. His sense of security is not rooted in companionship, but in something far deeper than human connection. This kind of peace is rare but powerful. It allows a man to walk through life with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, he will remain standing. This is not to say that love and companionship are not beautiful. They are, but they should never be the foundation of a man's peace. A relationship should add to his life, not be the glue that holds it together. Too often people enter relationships hoping for stability, only to find that when the relationship struggles, their entire world collapses. But a man who has built his peace from within does not experience this. He welcomes love when it comes, but does not depend on it for survival. If a relationship ends, he does not crumble because his foundation was never built on another person. It was built on something far stronger. When a man finds peace within himself, he no longer feels the need to prove anything to anyone. He does not chase approval, does not beg for attention, and does not fear being alone. He is content with his own company. He enjoys solitude not because he is antisocial, but because he understands the value of being at peace with himself. He does not need constant validation to feel worthy because he has already determined his worth. The world struggles to understand such a man. It wonders why he is not desperate for love, why he does not seek someone to complete him. It cannot comprehend how a man can be happy, confident, and fulfilled without a romantic relationship. But the truth is, this man has discovered something many never will. That real peace is not found in another person, but in truly knowing oneself and being completely secure in that knowledge. This kind of peace makes a man powerful, unbreakable. It allows him to walk through life with his head held high, not out of arrogance, but out of certainty, because he knows that nothing outside of him can destroy what he has built within. He does not fear abandonment because he has never abandoned himself. He does not fear rejection because he has already accepted himself. A man who has mastered his own peace does not chase love. Love finds him. There is something deeply attractive about a man who is secure, who does not need a relationship to feel valuable, who carries himself with quiet confidence. When love does come, it is a choice, not a necessity. He does not enter relationships out of fear of being alone, but out of a genuine desire to share his life with someone. Too many people spend their lives running from themselves, filling their days with distractions, relationships, anything to avoid sitting alone with their thoughts. But a man who has found peace within does not run. He stands still, faces himself, and learns to love his own company. He understands that his worth is not defined by whether someone loves him, but by the character he has built, the values he upholds, and the way he moves through the world. This does not mean life will always be easy. Even the strongest man faces challenges, struggles, and moments of doubt. But a man who has built his peace internally knows how to withstand the storm. He does not allow circumstances to dictate his happiness, heartbreak to destroy him, or loneliness to define him. He knows that no matter what happens, he will be okay, because his peace is not something that can be taken away. It is something that lives within him. A man who has found his own peace is not bitter. He does not walk through life with resentment, blaming others for his struggles or holding grudges against those who have hurt him. He understands that peace is not just about being alone, but about letting go of anger, pain, and anything that threatens to steal his joy. He forgives not because others deserve it, but because he refuses to let negativity take root in his heart. He moves forward not because he is unaffected by life's difficulties, but because he has learned how to carry them without allowing them to weigh him down. In a world that constantly tells people they need someone else to be happy, he stands apart. He proves that wholeness is not found in another person, but in a deep understanding of oneself. Because of this, he is not easily shaken. He does not waver in the face of hardship, nor does he waver in the face of love. He knows that his life has meaning whether or not someone is standing beside him, and so he walks with peace, unrushed, unshaken, undeterred by the opinions of others. He understands that true happiness does not come from being with someone, but from being at peace with oneself. And once a man has found this peace, nothing in the world can take it from him. A man who walks his path alone is not weak, he is strong beyond measure. In a world that glorifies companionship, relationships, and social validation, it takes a rare kind of strength for a man to walk alone, to build himself without leaning on another, to carve his own path without waiting for someone to walk beside him. This is not the path of a man who has failed to find love, but of one who refuses to settle for anything less than his purpose. Society often misconstrues solitude as failure, assuming that a man without a partner is incomplete. But a man who knows his worth understands that solitude is not a curse, it is a gift, a space where he can grow, sharpen his mind, and become exactly who he was meant to be. He is not afraid of silence. He does not fear the empty spaces that others rush to fill with temporary distractions. He embraces them, knowing that in the quiet, he hears himself the loudest. He does not let the world define him because he has already defined himself. He does not require constant validation because he has already determined his own worth. When the world sees him, it may not understand his journey, may question why he is not desperate for love, but he does not need their understanding. He only needs his own. For the strongest men in history, the ones who left legacies that lasted long after they were gone, were those unafraid to walk alone. They knew that solitude is not emptiness but power, that walking alone is not weakness but strength. And so he walks, not with loneliness but with purpose, not with desperation but with confidence, not with emptiness but with the fullness of knowing exactly who he is. Imagine yourself facing an illness, something that has stripped away your peace and tested your faith. You've exhausted every option, treatments, medicines, therapies, but deep within you know you need something greater, something beyond what medicine can provide. What if I told you the cure could be found in words written thousands of years ago? Words that are not merely ancient texts, but living prayers, infused with power, capable of transforming your reality. The Bible is rich with promises of healing, and one of the most profound sources of restoration is the book of Psalms. For centuries, kings, prophets, and faithful servants have turned to these sacred songs and prayers for strength in times of suffering. Even today, millions around the world find solace and hope in these very words. But what makes the Psalms so powerful? What is it about these texts that can bring healing to the body and soul? In this video, we will explore 3 powerful psalms that can bring healing, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual. Each psalm carries a promise, a divine revelation for those who are struggling. No matter your affliction, God can work a miracle in your life, and today you will learn how to use these psalms in prayer to seek divine healing. Before we continue, I want you to reflect for a moment. Do you truly believe that God can heal? Often the greatest obstacle to a miracle is not the severity of the illness, but the doubt that lingers in our hearts. Jesus himself asked many sick individuals before healing them, "Do you believe I can do this?" Faith is the key that unlocks the doors to the supernatural. If you are willing to strengthen your faith and earnestly seek God, get ready. He can do something extraordinary in your life today. Perhaps you've heard testimonies of people healed through prayer, or maybe you've even experienced God's touch yourself. But if today you are searching for renewal, an answer, or a way out of your suffering, now is the time to open yourself to something greater. The Bible assures us in Jeremiah 30:17, "I will restore your health and heal your wounds, declares the Lord." If this is God's promise, why not claim it as your own? To make this moment even more impactful, I encourage you to stay with this video until the end. Not only will we reveal the 3 Psalms that can transform your life, but we will also guide you on how to incorporate them into your daily routine, how to pray using them, and how to strengthen your faith to receive healing. If you know someone who needs this message, share it now. These words may be the answer they have been waiting for. Before we proceed, I have an important request. Most people who watch our videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If this content is blessing your life, please like and subscribe now. This simple action makes a huge difference and allows us to continue bringing transformative messages to you. It costs nothing and strengthens this mission. Click the subscribe button and be part of this journey of faith. Since ancient times, the Psalms have been a source of refuge for those facing pain and hardship. But to truly grasp their power, we must understand the context in which they were written. The book of Psalms is not just a collection of poetry, it is a living testament to human emotions before God. Whether expressing joy, sorrow, gratitude, or a desperate cry for healing, the Psalms encapsulate the depth of the human experience. The book of Psalms, part of the Old Testament, consists of 150 songs and prayers. Many of them were penned by King David, a man after God's own heart, who experienced both glorious victories and deep anguish. However, David was not the only author. Others, such as Asaph, the sons of Korah, and even Moses contributed to this sacred collection, offering a raw and honest reflection of humanity's journey with God. In Jewish tradition, the Psalms were used as songs of worship in the temple, recited in times of war, cried out in moments of illness, and proclaimed in thanksgiving. They were more than mere words. They carried the power of God's covenant with his people. But why are the Psalms so closely linked to healing? From the beginning, God revealed himself as Jehovah Rapha, the Lord who healed. Throughout the Psalms, we find prayers of supplication for physical and spiritual restoration, and we witness God's mercy poured out upon those who trust in him. One striking example is found in Psalm 103, where David proclaims, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgives all your sins and heals all your diseases." This verse is a spiritual key, revealing that the same God who forgives is also the God who heals. Beyond physical healing, the Psalms speak of an even deeper restoration, the healing of the soul. How often do we feel broken, wounded by life's trials? Psalm 147 declares, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." This promise assures us that God not only removes sickness from our bodies, but also mends the unseen wounds that weigh heavily on our hearts. The Psalms, therefore, are not merely poetic verses. They are spiritual weapons that have been wielded for millennia by those seeking freedom, strength, and healing. And what is most astonishing is that their power is not confined to the past. They remain just as effective today. Throughout history, countless people have witnessed miracles as they proclaim the Psalms in prayer. In times of sickness, when medicine offers no answers, many find in the Psalms a relief that surpasses human understanding. When we recite these words with faith, we activate divine promises and connect with God's supernatural power. If you desire this healing in your life, the first step is to recognize that the Psalms are not just religious texts, but living declarations that can change your reality. When you read, declare, and believe in the words of the Psalms, you invite God to work in your life in powerful ways. Now that we understand the profound spiritual depth of the Psalms and their connection to healing, let's move forward to the next part of this journey. The moment has arrived. to uncover three powerful psalms that can transform your health and strengthen your faith. Each of these psalms carries a specific promise from God for those crying out for deliverance, whether from physical, emotional, or spiritual suffering. Psalm 6, a cry for healing and mercy. The first psalm we will explore is Psalm 6, a heartfelt plea for restoration. David, the author, pours out his pain, feeling utterly drained and pleading for God's mercy. He cries out, "Have compassion on me, Lord, for I am weak. Heal me, Lord, for my bones are in agony." Psalm 6:02. This verse reveals a fundamental truth. When we are at our weakest, we can throw ourselves completely into God's grace. Psalm 6 teaches us that healing is not about our own strength, but about humbly seeking the Lord. Just as David found renewal through his cries, we too can trust that God hears and responds to those who seek Him in faith. If you are battling illness and feel drained, let this psalm be your daily prayer. Cry out, as David did, and trust in God's compassion. Psalm 30, from sorrow to the joy of healing. The second powerful psalm is Psalm 30, which brings a message of hope and restoration. David exalts the Lord, rejoicing in a miraculous deliverance. "Lord my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me." Psalm 32. This verse reveals a powerful spiritual reality. God not only hears our cries, but also answers with healing and redemption. Psalm 30 reminds us that suffering may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Many struggle with pain and believe it will never end. But this psalm declares that God can turn sorrow into joy, despair into hope, and sickness into health. Stay with us as we explore more, uncovering the depth of these divine promises. No matter how dire the situation may seem, this psalm reminds us that God has the power to transform any circumstance. If you are facing a difficult time today, hold on to this promise. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 103 is one of the most profound scriptures on healing, reaffirming God's merciful nature and His promises of restoration. In it, David proclaims, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all His benefits, who forgives all your sins and heals all your diseases." Psalm 132 and verse 3 through 3. This psalm serves as a powerful invitation to remember and declare God's promises. Often in times of suffering, we forget that He has already assured us of healing and renewal. Faith is essential in this process. When we trust in the Lord and proclaim His word, we strengthen our souls and create space for the supernatural to work in our lives. The key lesson from Psalm 103 is that God's healing extends beyond the physical. It encompasses both the body and the soul. His grace is infinite, and He forgives, heals, and restores. If you are seeking healing, declare this psalm over your life daily. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps spread this message of faith to those who need it most. Now that we have explored these three powerful psalms, an important question arises. How can we use them in prayer to experience healing? Here are some practices to strengthen your faith and bring transformation. Read the Psalms aloud. The Word of God carries power when spoken. Declare these Psalms as a statement of faith. Pray from the Psalms, personalize the verses, and speak directly to God about your need for healing. Meditate on His promises. Fill your mind and heart with the words of these Psalms, reinforcing your trust in the Lord. Give thanks in advance before healing manifests. Thank God, knowing He is already at work. The Word of God never returns empty. If you apply these Psalms with faith, you will see the Lord moving in your life. The Psalms were not written merely to be read occasionally, but to become a part of our daily lives, strengthening our faith and drawing us closer to God's power. Healing is not always an instantaneous act, but often a process requiring faith, dedication, and consistency in His Word. Just as medicine must be taken regularly to be effective, Prayer and meditation on the Psalms fortify our souls and activate God's supernatural intervention in our lives. One of the great lessons from the Psalms is that while God has the power to heal, He acts according to His perfect will. We often seek immediate answers, forgetting that God sees beyond what we can comprehend. Psalm 1:3 teaches that He not only heals physical ailments, but also restores the soul and spirit. When we declare this psalm in our prayers, we must do so with full confidence, knowing that God is in control and will always do what is best, even when we do not understand the timing of His response. To incorporate this into daily life, begin each morning by praying, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all His benefits, who forgives all your sins and heals all your diseases." Psalm 103, 2-3. Make this a habit, reaffirming your trust in the Lord. The Psalms also teach us that prayer should be persistent and sincere. In Psalm 6, David cries out to God in his distress, showing that healing comes to those who diligently seek Him. Too often we pray once and give up if we do not receive an immediate response. The Psalms encourage us to persist, just as a child trusts that their parent will listen and respond. To apply this principle, dedicate a specific time each day for prayer based on the Psalms. Write down the psalm that speaks to your current need and declare it in faith. This practice, maintained consistently, will strengthen your faith over time. The Bible states that the power of life and death is in the tongue, Proverbs 18:21, and the Psalms reinforce this truth. When we recite a psalm, we are not merely reading words, we are activating spiritual promises. Psalm 30 reminds us that God turns sorrow into joy and mourning into dancing, teaching us to declare victory and restoration even before we see them manifest. Faith speaks the miracle into existence before it happens. Whenever negative thoughts or doubts arise, recite Psalm 35. "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." Declare this truth over your life and reject any thoughts of defeat. Another powerful lesson from the Psalms is that worship draws us closer to God and brings peace in the midst of struggles. When David faced distress, he chose to trust and praise God, knowing this would change his reality. Anxiety often overwhelms us when we are waiting for healing or an answer from God. However, the Psalms teach that instead of worrying, we should fill our minds and hearts with praise. To apply this in your daily life, whenever you feel anxious or troubled, pause for a few moments and read a psalm of praise, such as Psalm 15:15. Rather than focusing on your struggles, worship God, acknowledging His power and faithfulness. The Psalms also teach us that gratitude is an act of faith. Those who give thanks before seeing their miracle demonstrate trust in God. In Psalm 103, David begins his prayer by blessing the Lord and exalting His blessings. He does not wait for healing to be grateful. He starts his prayer with thanksgiving. To practice this, before asking God for anything, begin by thanking Him for what He has already done. If you are praying for healing, declare, "Lord, I praise You because I know You are taking care of me. Thank You for Your faithfulness." This posture of faith opens the door for the supernatural to work. The Psalms are not just prayers for difficult times. They are a guide to a life of faith, trust, and gratitude. When we integrate these principles into our daily lives, we experience not only healing, but also a transformed way of living. Starting today, make the Psalms part of your daily routine. Let prayer become a habit. Declare God's promises and live with a heart full of praise. As you do, you will witness the power of God renewing your soul, bringing peace, and manifesting the healing you seek. Divine healing is one of the most profound themes in Scripture, appearing throughout both the Old and New Testaments. From the miracles of Jesus to the testimonies of the apostles, we see countless accounts of restoration by God's power. Beyond the well-known miracles, there are deeper insights into healing in the Bible that can further strengthen our faith. In this section, we will explore lesser-known truths, historical contexts, and interpretations that reveal how God has always been and continues to be active in restoring His people. One of the first key understandings is that healing has never been an isolated event. It has always been a sign of God's presence and power among His people. In the Old Testament, God revealed Himself as Jehovah Rapha, the Lord who heals. This revelation appears in the book of Exodus when God promises the Israelites that He will protect them from the diseases that afflicted the Egyptians as long as they obey His commandments. This teaches us that divine healing is not just an act of mercy, but a covenant between God and His people. Throughout the Gospels, Jesus never used a single method to heal. Sometimes He simply spoke a word and healing happened instantly. In other cases, He touched the sick, mixed mud with saliva, or used other unique approaches. When Jesus instructed someone to take action, such as getting up or washing in the pool of Siloam, it demonstrated an important truth. His methods of healing were never identical. This highlights that healing does not follow a fixed formula, but rather depends on faith and God's sovereignty. Many assume that if healing does not happen immediately, it must mean that God does not will it. However, the Bible presents both instant healings and those that unfold over time. For instance, in the account of the 10 lepers healed by Jesus, the Scripture states that as they went, they were cleansed, indicating that their miracle occurred progressively as they followed His command. This teaches us that even when we do not see an immediate answer, we must continue walking in faith, as healing may be unfolding gradually. In some biblical instances, Jesus healed by first declaring, "Your sins are forgiven," before addressing physical restoration. This does not suggest that all illness is a direct consequence of sin, but rather that one's spiritual state can influence physical and emotional well-being. Interestingly, modern research confirms that emotions such as resentment, anxiety, and guilt can negatively impact health, something the Bible has taught for centuries. The condition of the soul inevitably reflects on the body. When we think about healing, we often focus on the physical aspect, yet in Scripture, the greatest miracles were not always bodily restorations, but transformations of the heart. A clear example is the Apostle Paul, who prayed 3 times for God to remove what he called a thorn in the flesh. Instead, God's response was, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." This teaches us that God does not always heal in the way we expect, but He always provides what we truly need. At times, He strengthens us within our weaknesses so that His purpose may be fulfilled. Many wonder if the miraculous healings recorded in the Bible still happen today. The answer is evident. Every day, people witness deliverances, overturned diagnoses, and unexplainable recoveries that defy scientific reasoning. Historically, great revivals such as the Welsh revival of the 19th century and the Azusa Street revival in the United States have documented instances of divine healing through prayer. However, we must remember that all healing serves a higher purpose: to glorify God and strengthen the faith of those who believe in Him. The Psalms affirm that healing is a promise from God, but above all, it serves as a means for Him to reveal Himself as a loving and faithful Father. Whether through an instant miracle, a gradual process, or the grace to endure hardship, we can trust that God cares for us and has a perfect plan for our lives. Throughout this journey, we have seen that healing extends far beyond physical relief. The Psalms remind us that God is present in every cry, every tear, and every prayer. He not only listens, but also responds, strengthens, and renews those who place their trust in Him. The Word of God is not merely a collection of decorative verses, but a living source of power capable of transforming even the most impossible situations. Perhaps you have been battling an illness for years, waiting for an answer, searching for a sign that God is still with you. Or maybe your struggle is not physical, but emotional, carrying wounds unshaken by others. No matter your circumstance, one truth remains unshaken: God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And His promises never fail. Just as He restored lives in the past, He continues to heal today. The real question is, do you believe Faith is the key that unlocks the supernatural. The Psalms are not just poetic words, they are declarations that activate the power of God. When you pray through them, you are not merely reciting ancient verses, you are bringing to life the eternal promises of the Lord. Each psalm is an invitation to trust, surrender, and rest in the assurance that God is in control. Do not allow doubt or fear to take root in your heart. If God has promised healing, whether of the body, mind, or spirit, He is faithful to fulfill it. Do not focus on the circumstances. Fix your eyes on the Lord. He knows the perfect time, the perfect way, and the perfect purpose for every miracle. While you wait, strengthen yourself in the Word, declare Scripture over your life, and stand firm, knowing that God's answer always arrives at the right moment. Now, I invite you to take a step of faith. If this message has spoken to your heart, share it with someone who needs this truth. Be a vessel of God's love in the lives of others, spreading the hope found in His Word. If you desire more content like this, stay connected with us by subscribing to the channel and following each teaching that will enrich your spiritual journey. Healing begins with faith, is strengthened through the Word, and manifests at the appointed time. God has already given the promise. It is up to you to receive it. May He bless and strengthen you today and always. If this message has been a blessing to you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support enables us to continue sharing uplifting messages. Now, why not take the next step on this journey of faith? Click on the video appearing on the screen and discover another powerful message that could transform your life. I'll be waiting for you there. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. There's a reason you've been through what you've been through. It's not because you're weak, and it's not because you're unlucky. It's because you are built differently. You have walked through fire, yet you did not burn. You have been tested, yet you did not break. And here's the truth. Some of you don't even realize just how blessed you are. So, I need you to sit up and listen closely. Because today, you're about to understand something that will forever change the way you see yourself. If you've ever questioned why you're different, why you don't fit in, why you keep rising no matter how hard life hits you, then you need to hear this until the end. Because you're not just another woman. You are a woman blessed beyond measure. There is a certain kind of woman who doesn't just exist, she endures, evolves, and excels. No matter what life throws at her, she is built differently. She doesn't complain about the struggle. She embraces it, knowing it is shaping her into something greater. This is the kind of woman who carries a strong spirit, a spirit that refuses to bow to circumstances, refuses to break under pressure, and refuses to let the world define her worth. A woman with a strong spirit isn't just someone who gets through tough times. She transforms because of them. She doesn't crumble when life gets difficult. She adapts, learns, and grows. When the world tells her she's not enough, she doesn't argue. She just proves it wrong. She walks through fire, and instead of being consumed, she becomes something unshakable, something unbreakable. That kind of strength doesn't come easily. It is forged through pain, through challenges, through nights spent wondering if she can keep going. It comes from the disappointments that almost crushed her, the betrayals that nearly shattered her, and the setbacks that tested her faith in herself. She has scars, not as wounds, but as proof that she has fought battles others wouldn't have survived. She is the kind of woman who has been underestimated, overlooked, and taken for granted. And yet, somehow, she always finds a way to rise. Life has tried to silence her, but she refuses to stay quiet. She refuses to shrink herself just to make others comfortable. She doesn't need validation because she knows her worth. And even when others fail to see it, she carries herself like the queen she is. This woman doesn't chase approval. She doesn't beg for people to see her value. She walks into a room and the energy shifts. Not because she is loud, but because her presence demands respect. She's not looking for attention, yet people can't help but notice her. There's something different about her, an aura, a confidence, a quiet power that speaks louder than words ever could. She has learned to trust herself, to rely on her instincts, to move in silence when necessary. She understands that not everyone is meant to go where she's going. She has let go of friendships that drained her, relationships that stunted her growth, and situations that no longer served her purpose. Because a strong woman doesn't beg to be chosen, she chooses herself. And let's talk about the way she handles failure. Most people let failure define them. Most people give up when things don't go as planned. But this woman, she takes failure as feedback. She analyzes, adjusts, and attacks again. She understands that every setback is just a setup for a stronger comeback. When life tells her no, she finds another way. When doors close, she doesn't stand there knocking forever. She builds her own door. She is resilient, not because she has never struggled, but because she refused to let struggle break her. She has walked alone when necessary, stood against the odds, and faced moments where giving up seems like the easiest option, but she didn't. And that's why she stands tall today. This kind of strength doesn't just protect her, it inspires others. People look at her and wonder how she does it, how she keeps going, how she keeps smiling despite the battles she has fought. They don't know the silent tears she's cried, the nights she spent questioning everything, the moments where she almost gave in, but she didn't, because she is built differently. And if you're listening to this right now and something inside you is stirring, then maybe, just maybe, you are that woman. Maybe you've been underestimating yourself for too long. Maybe you've been playing small, waiting for someone to tell you that you are enough. But let me tell you the truth. You've always been enough. The strength you need, it's already inside you. The power you seek, it's been there all along. You are not just existing, you are becoming. You are stepping into the next level of yourself, shedding the doubts, leaving behind the fear, and rising into the woman you were always meant to be, and from this moment on, walk like you know it. There's something different about you, something that makes people take notice even when you're not trying. It's not just your presence, your words, or the way you carry yourself. It's something deeper. It's the way life seems to align in your favor, the way opportunities seem to find you, even when you least expect them. You attract favor. And whether you realize it or not, that is a rare and powerful gift. Some people work endlessly to open doors, and yet for you, doors swing open at just the right time. It's not that you don't work hard, you do. But there's something beyond effort that moves on your behalf. Things seem to come together for you even after setbacks. Just when you think you've lost, something shifts and suddenly what you thought was a failure turns into an opportunity. You've been in situations where you thought all was lost, but at the last moment, a way was made. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's something greater working in your life. People see it in you, even if you don't always see it in yourself. That's why some admire you, and that's also why some envy you. They wonder how you keep rising, how you keep moving forward, how you continue to receive chances, breakthroughs, and second wins when others get stuck. They don't understand that what's meant for you will always find you, that no force on this earth can block what is destined to be yours. This favor you carry doesn't mean life has been easy. You've been through struggles that could have broken you. You've faced rejection, loss, disappointment. You've had moments where you doubted yourself, where you questioned why certain things happened to you. And yet, even in those moments, something kept you going. Even when doors closed, better ones opened. Even when you thought you were being set back, you were really being set up for something greater. Have you ever noticed how when you step into a new space, things start to shift? How the right people seem to enter your life just when you need them? How an idea, an opportunity, or a connection appears when you least expect it, but exactly when you need it? That's because you attract favor. You are positioned for something bigger than what you see right now. And here's the thing, this kind of favor doesn't just come to anyone. It follows those who are ready, those who have prepared themselves, those who have done the inner work. It follows those who have the right heart, the right mindset, and the right determination to do something meaningful with it. You don't just receive blessings, you are trusted with them. That's why no matter what happens, you always land on your feet. People might call it luck. They might try to downplay it. They might say, oh, she just got lucky, or she just happened to be in the right place at the right time. But deep down, you know better. You know the nights you cried. You know the times you wanted to give up but didn't. You know the silent battles you fought. You know that nothing about your journey was an accident. Every step, every challenge, every unexpected turn was preparing you for something greater. And now it's time for you to own it. No more doubting. No more questioning if you deserve the good that comes your way. You do. No more shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. No more feeling guilty for the way favor follows you. You didn't steal it. You didn't manipulate your way to it. You were chosen for this, so stand tall, walk with confidence, and move forward, knowing that what is meant for you is already making its way into your life. Speak with authority, understanding that your words hold power. Make decisions boldly, knowing that the path ahead is being cleared, even if you can't see it yet. Because here's the truth. When you are in alignment with God's plan, you don't have to chase what's already destined for you. It will come, and when it does, step into it without hesitation. There is a peace within you that many don't understand. While the world rushes, while people stress over things they can't control, while they allow fear and anxiety to dictate their lives, you move differently. You walk with a calmness, a stillness, a confidence that cannot be shaken. It's not because life has been easy for you. Far from it. You've faced storms, endured heartbreak, and encountered moments that could have broken you. But through it all, you've learned one powerful truth. Peace is not found in the absence of problems, but in the presence of trust. Many people wake up each day controlled by fear, anxious about the future, worried about what could go wrong, always bracing for the worst. But not you. Even when things seem impossible, even when answers are unclear, you don't panic like others do. You don't allow fear to take hold of your heart because deep down you know things are working out for you. Even in uncertainty, you choose faith over fear. This kind of peace confuses people. They wonder, why isn't she stressed? Why is she worried like the rest of us? How is she still standing after everything she's been through? What they don't understand is that your strength comes from something greater. They don't realize you've spent nights in silence teaching yourself how to trust even when there was no visible reason to. They don't know how many times you've had to let go of what you wanted to make room for something better. Your peace is your power. It's the reason you don't react the way others expect you to. It's the reason you can stand firm in uncertainty. It's the reason you don't seek validation, approval, or chase things not meant for you. You already know that what is meant for you will come, and what is not meant for you will leave. And because of that, you remain unshaken. People will try to disturb your peace. They will attempt to bring chaos into your life, not because you've done anything wrong, but because they don't understand peace. They are used to drama, dysfunction, and chasing things that never truly fulfill them. When they see someone content, someone who refuses to engage in negativity, they don't know how to handle it. That's why you must protect your peace fiercely. Do not allow just anyone access to your energy. Do not waste time explaining yourself to those who have already chosen to misunderstand you. Do not lower yourself just to fit into places never meant for you. You have seen what happens when you let negativity into your life. You have felt the burden of carrying things that were never yours to carry. You have wasted time trying to fix people who never wanted to change. You have learned that some people don't seek peace because they don't know who they are without their chaos. But that is not your burden to bear. Your responsibility is to stay grounded, to remain aligned, to protect your peace. This doesn't mean life will never test you. It doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It simply means that no matter what comes, you will not be moved. And when you carry yourself with this kind of confidence, you will notice something. Life starts to align in your favor. The things that used to stress you no longer bother you. The people who drained you start to fade away. The doors that once seemed locked begin to open effortlessly. Why? Because you are no longer chasing things beneath you. You are attracting things that match your peace. This is the kind of person you are. Calm, unshaken, someone who knows that storms will come but will not be moved. Someone who does not beg, does not plead, does not chase because they know who they are and what they carry. Someone who trusts that the best is already on its way. And because of that, you walk with a peace that no one can take from you. You are different. You've always been different. You feel things deeply. You see what others overlook. You enter a room and immediately sense the energy. It's as if you carry a knowing within you. A quiet wisdom that guides, protects, and warns you. You can tell when someone's intentions are pure and when they are not. You can feel when something is right for you and when it isn't, even if you don't always understand why. There have been times when you ignored this voice, times when you second-guessed yourself, and you paid the price for it. You trusted the wrong people. You stayed in places you should have left. You gave your energy to things that drained you instead of fulfilling you. But every time you walked away from what was wrong, every time you finally listened to that inner voice, you saw how it saved you. You saw how it redirected you to something better. This is not a coincidence. Not everyone has this level of discernment. Not everyone can sense when something is off before it happens. Not everyone has that inner pull telling them when to walk away, when to wait, when to move. But you do. You've had it for as long as you can remember. You know when someone's words don't match their energy. You know when an opportunity is too good to be true. You know when something is calling you forward and when something is pulling you down. You often walk alone because you don't follow the crowd. You are not easily swayed by trends or influenced by others. You think for yourself. You wait for what aligns instead of forcing what doesn't. That's why people don't always understand you. They don't understand how you make decisions. They don't understand why you don't settle. They don't understand why you walk away from places where your spirit feels uneasy. But here's the thing. Your discernment isn't meant for them to understand. It's meant for you to follow. It's meant to protect you, to keep you from stepping into situations that aren't meant for you, to guide you towards something greater. Every time you have trusted this knowing, you have been led exactly where you needed to be. Think about the times you were about to make a decision and something inside whispered, wait. Think about the moments when someone smiled at you, but deep down you knew they weren't for you. Think about the opportunities you turned down, not because they weren't good, but because something inside you knew they weren't right. At the time, maybe you couldn't explain why, but later you always found out. Later you saw the truth. Later you realized you were being protected. This is your gift. This is your strength, and it is not something to ignore, push aside, or silence. The more you listen, the stronger it gets. The more you trust it, the clearer it becomes. And the more you follow it, the more aligned your life becomes. But here's the truth. This kind of wisdom makes people uncomfortable. Some will say you're too cautious. Some will say you overthink. Some will try to convince you that you're wrong, that you're imagining things. They want you to ignore your intuition so they can have easier access to you. They want you to doubt yourself so they can influence your decisions. Don't let them. Do not let anyone talk you out of what you already know deep down. Do not let anyone convince you to settle. Do not let anyone tell you to ignore the signs. You have this gift for a reason. The more you honor it, the more it will lead you exactly where you are meant to be. So trust it. Trust yourself. Trust that inner voice that has never failed you, because the moment you fully embrace it, the moment you stop questioning it, you step into your destiny. Doubting is the very moment you step into the life destined for you. You have endured trials that would have broken most people. You have faced setbacks, disappointments, and betrayals. You have found yourself in situations where you had to hold yourself together because no one else was there to do it for you. There have been moments when the weight of life felt unbearable, times when you questioned whether you could keep going, whether you had the strength to push through. And yet here you are, still standing, still rising, still moving forward. People see your strength, but they have no idea about the battles you fought to get here. They see your resilience, but not the nights you cried in silence, the days you smiled while carrying a heavy heart. They don't know how many times you had to start over, how many times you rebuilt yourself from nothing. You are not strong because life has been easy. You are strong because life has tested you and you refuse to break. You have learned to keep going even when every part of you wanted to give up. You have fought battles you never asked for, yet you faced them head on. This strength is what sets you apart, allowing you to walk through fire and emerge untouched. It equips you to handle what would crush others, to rise above chaos, noise, and distraction. Your strength intimidates people. Some will try to downplay it, acting as if what you endured wasn't that difficult. They will make it seem like you were just lucky, as if things were handed to you. They do this because they cannot acknowledge the effort, the pain, and the silent battles you've won. Others will try to test you, pushing you just to see if they can break you. They cannot stand that you don't crumble under pressure, that you don't fold when things get hard, so they will try to shake you, to make you doubt yourself, to make you question if you are truly as strong as you believe. But they will fail, because what they don't understand is that your strength does not come from the outside. It is not based on people's opinions, their treatment of you, or their belief in you. It is built from the struggles you have survived, the lessons you have learned, and the battles you have already won. You don't need validation. You don't need approval. You don't need anyone to tell you how strong you are, because you already know. You have seen yourself overcome what you once thought was impossible. You have risen when you had every reason to stay down. You have held yourself together when everything around you was falling apart. That kind of strength cannot be faked, borrowed, or taken away. That is why you must never let anyone make you feel like you are too much, like your strength is a problem, like you should shrink to make others comfortable. You didn't endure everything you have just to play small. You didn't survive storms only to dim your light so that others feel better about themselves. You didn't come this far to let someone else's insecurities make you forget who you are. Stand in your strength, own it, embrace it. Let it remind you that no matter what happens, no matter who doubts you, no matter what obstacles arise, you will not be moved. You have already faced worse, and you made it through. Your life has a purpose, even in moments when you feel lost, even when you question if you are on the right path. Something is guiding you, shaping you into the person you were meant to be. You are not here by accident. Every experience, every challenge, every moment of joy and pain is part of something bigger than you can see. There have been times when you questioned your worth, when you felt invisible and overlooked, as if nothing you did mattered, but the truth is you have always mattered. Even when you felt unseen, even when your efforts went unrecognized, even when those around you did not appreciate your presence, you were still making an impact. Every act of kindness, every moment of strength, every time you pushed forward when giving up would have been easier, you were living your purpose. And purpose does not always look the way you expect. You may think purpose has to be loud, noticeable, something the world applauds. But real purpose is often quiet. It is in the way you encourage someone when they are down. It is in the wisdom you share that shifts someone's perspective. It is in the strength you show that inspires someone else to keep going. Your purpose is in how you carry yourself, the energy you bring into a room, the way people feel in your presence. You don't have to force it or chase it. You are already walking in it even when you don't realize it. Every lesson you have learned, every hardship you have endured, every time you grew through pain instead of letting it break you, it was all shaping you for something greater. It was preparing you to step fully into the life meant for you. But here's the challenge. When you start walking in your purpose, not everyone will support you. Not everyone will understand. Some will question why you are changing, why you are choosing a different path, why you no longer fit into the mold they created for you. They will try to hold you to the old version of yourself because that version was easier for them to accept. They will try to make you feel guilty for growing, evolving, and stepping into the power that was always within you. Do not let them stop you. You are not here to stay small. You are not here to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You are here to fulfill something greater, something only you can do in your way, with your voice, with your strength. You are not like everyone else, and you were never meant to be. That is why you think differently, why you see things others miss, why you feel drawn towards something more. Your journey will not look like anyone else's. Stop comparing your path to theirs. Stop questioning your timing, your process, your progress. Just because you cannot yet see the full picture does not mean it is not coming together. Just because you have not reached the destination does not mean you are not on the right road. Every step you take, even the small ones, even the uncertain ones, is leading you exactly where you need to be. And when doubt creeps in, as it inevitably will, remind yourself of how far you have come. Look at the challenges you once thought would break you and see how you overcame them. Look at the moments you felt lost and recognize that somehow you always found your way. You have always been guided, always been protected, always been led towards something greater. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to know every detail of where you are going. You only need to trust that the same strength that brought you this far will carry you the rest of the way. Keep moving. Keep growing. Keep stepping into the person you were always meant to be. Your purpose is already within you. It is not something you have to search for. It is something you must embrace. And the moment you fully own who you are and what you are here to do, everything in your life will begin to align. So now tell me, do you see it? Do you understand? You are not ordinary. You are not average. You are a woman blessed beyond measure. The trials did not break you. They built you. The losses did not define you. They refined you. From this day forward, walk like you know it. Speak like you believe it. Live like you were born with purpose, because you were. Now go out there and stand tall. The world needs to see the kind of woman you are becoming. Unstoppable. Billy Graham, a renowned spiritual leader, emphasized that true strength is not found in overpowering external forces, but in mastering our own emotions. In today's world, this wisdom is more relevant than ever. Have you ever felt emotionally drained after interacting with someone negative? Toxic individuals can disrupt our mental well-being, leaving us feeling frustrated and powerless. But what if there were practical strategies to handle these challenging interactions? In this video, we'll explore 13 practical Billy Graham-inspired strategies that will empower you to manage toxic people with compassion, grace, and resilience. Join me on this journey to safeguard your emotional well-being, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on building mental resilience. By the end of this video, you'll have a powerful set of tools rooted in wisdom to effectively handle toxic individuals. So take a deep breath and let's begin. Number one, identifying and understanding the toxic threat. Imagine yourself as a guardian standing at the entrance of your own personal stronghold, a fortress representing your inner tranquility, physical health, and emotional security. Awareness is the first defense in protecting this sacred space. Just as a vigilant sentry must recognize potential threats, you must identify the signs that a toxic individual is approaching. Billy Graham, known for his teachings on faith and self-control, emphasized that it is not the events themselves that disturb us, but rather our interpretation of them. This is especially vital when dealing with toxic people. Their negativity and manipulative behaviors do not have power over you. It is your reaction to them that determines their impact on your inner peace. Mastering a calm and objective perspective is the key to handling these situations effectively. Learning to recognize toxic behaviors is a crucial first step. Here are some key warning signs. Constant criticism. These individuals always find fault in you, your actions, or your decisions, leaving you feeling uncertain about yourself. Manipulation. They use flattery, guilt trips, or threats to control your behavior. Negativity. Such individuals thrive on pessimism, constantly complaining and dragging others down with their bleak outlook. Beyond these general traits, there are specific toxic personality types to be aware of. The narcissist seeks constant approval and admiration. They may appear charming initially, but ultimately their interactions leave you emotionally drained. The gossip thrives on social conflict, spreading rumors and causing tension among others. The energy vampire, as the name suggests, drains your mental and emotional energy, leaving you exhausted after each interaction. By recognizing these toxic patterns, you can develop a mental map of potential threats to your emotional fortress. Just as a wise leader anticipates the tactics of an adversary, you can use this awareness to predict toxic behaviors and safeguard your emotional well-being. Number 2, fortify your walls. Picture Marcus Aurelius, the famous Roman emperor known for his wisdom and unshakable resolve. To rule a vast empire, he needed strength, knowledge, and unwavering determination. These same qualities are essential in building the walls of your inner fortress, your emotional resilience. Boundaries form the foundation of this stronghold. When dealing with toxic individuals, boundaries define what you will and will not tolerate. Just as a powerful ruler would never allow his borders to be breached, you must not allow toxic people to violate your emotional space. Billy Graham's teachings emphasize the importance of self-discipline and wisdom. The first step is to identify which behaviors drain your energy or compromise your values. Is it a friend's relentless negativity, a coworker's manipulative tendencies, a family member's intrusive advice? Be honest about what you will not accept. Once you've identified these boundaries, the next step is to communicate them clearly, channel your inner strength, be firm but fair. Use these effective strategies. Express your feelings using I statements. Instead of saying, "You are always so negative," try, "I feel drained," when the focus is always on the negative. Be specific. Avoid vague statements like, "I need space." Instead say, "I can't talk right now, but I'd be happy to chat later this week." Stay calm but firm. Assertiveness is not aggression. Communicate with confidence while maintaining kindness. Establishing boundaries is not a one-time task. It requires consistent reinforcement. Just as a ruler remains vigilant against potential threats, you must stand firm in upholding your boundaries. A weak wall is easily breached. If a toxic person disregards your limits, calmly remind them of the boundary. In some cases, you may need to reduce interactions or even walk away entirely. Setting boundaries isn't about punishing others. It's about protecting yourself. Envy, a vice often fueling toxic behavior, was something Billy Graham warned against. By establishing boundaries, you are not acting selfishly, but rather creating the necessary space to cultivate inner peace. A well-defended emotional fortress is essential on the path to a life of resilience and tranquility. Number 3, become uninteresting to the emotional attacker. Picture an emotional aggressor, someone fueled by negativity, seeking dramatic conflict. Some toxic individuals thrive on drawing reactions from others. They provoke with insults, seeking to ignite anger or hurt, feeding off your emotional response. This is where the philosophy of emotional regulation and detachment becomes an invaluable tool. Inspired by this wisdom, therapist Paul Friedman developed the Gray Rock Method. This technique involves reducing emotional engagement with toxic individuals, not by shutting down completely, but by becoming as neutral and unresponsive as a dull gray rock. By refusing to provide the reaction they seek, you deny them the fuel they crave. ultimately discouraging further conflict. This approach aligns with the teachings of patience and self-control, allowing you to maintain your peace even in the face of negativity. Through these strategies, you can navigate difficult interactions with grace and resilience. By identifying toxic behaviors, setting firm boundaries, and maintaining emotional detachment, you reclaim your inner strength. Stay on this journey of growth and let wisdom guide you to a life of peace and emotional fortitude, and which does not provide any foothold for negativity to take hold. To further analyze this approach, let us draw upon the wisdom of Seneca, a great Roman philosopher. Seneca teaches that true happiness lies in embracing the present without an anxious dependence on the future. This serves as a reminder to free ourselves from the need for attention. Those who exhibit toxic behavior often seek attention, whether positive or negative. The Grey Rock method denies them the emotional response they crave. When they attempt to stir chaos, you remain unengaging, a dull, unremarkable presence. Neutral responses serve as your shield. The Grey Rock method involves responding to negative comments with neutral, factual statements. It is essential to avoid emotional disputes or justifications. If a toxic friend insults your work, you can deflect their negativity by simply saying, "That's interesting," without offering further fuel. Toxic individuals often try to manipulate emotions using sarcasm, guilt trips, or outright hostility. In these moments, disengagement is key. Maintain composure, respond factually, and refuse to be drawn into their drama. Remember, Seneca teaches that the path to genuine happiness is not to entertain either hopes or fears. Do not grant them the emotional power they seek. While the Grey Rock method is a powerful tool, it is not a miracle cure. Some toxic individuals may initially escalate their behavior to test your emotional resilience. Stay calm, be consistent, and remember that you are not responsible for their negativity. By applying this approach inspired by Billy Graham, you shift from being a passive victim of their emotional theatrics to an unshaken observer, safeguarding your inner peace and emotional well-being. Number 4, the broken record technique. Imagine being subjected to a relentless wave of manipulation with a toxic individual chipping away at your boundaries using deceptive arguments and emotional tactics. Such persistence can be exhausting and frustrating. However, the principles of unwavering reason and perseverance, as emphasized by Billy Graham, form the foundation of the broken record technique. A powerful defense strategy, the broken record technique is a method designed to counter manipulation. It involves calmly and repeatedly stating a clear position, much like a skipping record replaying the same message. This seemingly simple approach can be remarkably effective in deflecting attempts to derail you and reinforcing your boundary. Billy Graham emphasized that true freedom lies in the ability to set and maintain personal boundaries without feeling the need to justify them. The broken record technique exemplifies this principle by calmly and consistently repeating your stance. You demonstrate unwavering determination and prevent manipulators from swaying you. Manipulators often use emotional tactics such as flattery, guilt, or rage to gain control. The broken record technique allows you to resist their influence by keeping the conversation grounded in reason. Consistently reiterating your position unsettles manipulators, disrupting their strategy and exposing the weakness of their arguments. Imagine a wave crashing against an immovable rock. The rock remains steadfast while the wave dissipates. Contrary to popular belief, the broken record technique does not promote confrontation. Instead, it emphasizes calmly maintaining your stance and reinforcing your boundaries without engaging in emotional disputes. Remember, Billy Graham highlighted reason and logic as guiding principles for navigating life's challenges. By employing this method, you empower yourself to resist exploitation and protect your inner peace with unwavering resolve. Number 5, don't take the bait. Picture a skilled fisherman casting a line baited with negativity, hoping to ensnare you in emotional turmoil. Toxic individuals use provocations, insults, or guilt trips to elicit reactions that fuel their drama. However, the teachings of Billy Graham offer a powerful defense. Indifference, apathy suggests a lack of concern, whereas indifference signifies detachment from destructive emotions and irrational judgments. This distinction is crucial when dealing with toxic individuals. Recognizing their strategy is the first step. Be aware of the telltale signs of manipulation: a sarcastic remark, a veiled insult, or a guilt-laden suggestion. Once you identify their tactic, you weaken its effectiveness. The bait is designed to provoke anger, frustration, or defensiveness. Choosing stoic indifference allows you to remain emotionally unhooked from their negativity. Imagine a scenario where you simply observe the bait without reacting. By refusing to engage, their power over you diminishes. Their negative remarks lose strength and fade without a response. Drama cannot thrive without participation. This does not mean becoming cold or unfeeling. The philosophy of Billy Graham encourages the expression of positive emotions while advocating detachment from harmful ones. By practicing indifference, you transition from a participant in their drama to a peaceful observer, demonstrating that you will not be drawn into their emotional web. Your inner tranquility remains intact, a sanctuary of peace and resilience. Number 6, the art of non-reaction. Imagine encountering someone who thrives in verbal combat, a master of insults and provocations, drawing energy from heated exchanges. Some individuals are adept at using words as weapons, aiming to provoke anger, humiliate, and ultimately drag you into their emotional turmoil. Here lies a strategy often overlooked, yet profoundly effective: the art of non-reaction. When applied deliberately, silence can become a powerful tool against verbal assaults, disrupting the dynamic they seek to control and leaving them disarmed. However, maintaining silence is not always easy. The instinct to respond, defend ourselves, or win an argument is deeply ingrained. Yet Billy Graham emphasized the power of mastering our reactions. True control is demonstrated through restraint, choosing stillness at the right moment. To understand the strength of non-reaction, consider the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, the esteemed Roman emperor and philosopher. Breaking the cycle of toxicity. Toxic individuals operate within predictable patterns. Their negativity thrives on eliciting reactions: anger, frustration, or defensiveness. When you respond emotionally, you fuel their fire and sustain the cycle. Choosing not to engage disrupts this pattern, denying them the response they seek. Imagine a tennis player delivering a powerful serve to an empty court. The ball lands with a hollow thud, met with silence. In this scenario, silence is not emptiness. It is a profound form of communication. It signals self-retraite and a refusal to participate in negativity. This act of non-engagement conveys strength and detachment from emotional manipulation. As Marcus Aurelius advised, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. True resilience lies in maintaining composure, remaining reasonable, and refusing to be shaken by external provocations. Preparing for escalation. When employing non-reaction, expect resistance. Toxic individuals may intensify their efforts, launching further verbal attacks to force a response. Stay composed, unmoved by their tactics. Remember, silence is not a sign of weakness, but a strategic tool wielded by those with true strength. While non-reaction is not a universal solution, it is a vital component of your inner arsenal. Used wisely, it can neutralize negativity, protect your inner peace, and reinforce your emotional autonomy. Choosing silence is a powerful statement in itself. It signifies refusal to play their game. Number 7, limiting exposure. Picture yourself within a fortified citadel, safeguarding your mental well-being with firm boundaries. However, even the strongest walls cannot entirely shield you from external threats. Just as persistent intruders attempt to breach defenses, toxic individuals may seek to infiltrate your space. Here, the principle of controlling what you can comes into play. While you cannot control the actions of others, you can regulate your exposure to them. One of the most effective defenses is minimizing time spent with toxic individuals. Whenever possible, create physical distance. Can you reschedule a meeting? Politely excuse yourself from an unnecessary discussion? This is not about rudeness, but self-preservation. Just as a wise leader avoids unnecessary battles, you should steer clear of negativity that serves no purpose. However, complete avoidance is not always feasible. Toxic individuals may be colleagues, family members, or even close acquaintances. In such cases, establishing emotional distance is crucial. This can be achieved through several key strategies. Epictetus, a notable philosopher, taught that happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one another. This wisdom underscores the importance of mental detachment. Recognizing someone's negativity does not mean internalizing it. Observe their behavior objectively without allowing it to influence your mindset. Cognitive reframing is another valuable tool. Toxic individuals often manipulate emotions through negativity, but Stoic principles offer a solution. Reframe their pessimism as an observation rather than a personal affront. If a colleague constantly complains, view it as, they seem to be struggling today, rather than allowing their attitude to impact your own. Furthermore, focusing on the positive is essential. Toxic individuals thrive on negativity, but you do not have to absorb it. Direct your attention to meaningful aspects of your life, your passions, your purpose, and your supportive relationships. These act as emotional shields, offering refuge from external toxicity. Setting boundaries is not an act of cowardice, but a necessary step in self-care. Protecting your peace aligns with a Stoic commitment to rational living. By reducing exposure to negativity, you create space for personal growth and fulfillment. Imagine your fortress encircled by a wide moat, not only a physical barrier, but an emotional safeguard against toxicity. Number 8, building a support system. Picture yourself as the guardian of your inner stronghold. Your walls are reinforced with firm boundaries. You have mastered the art of non-reaction and minimized your exposure to negativity. However, even the bravest warrior requires a strong flank, a formation of trusted allies. Your support system is your foundation, essential in preserving inner tranquility. Facing negativity alone is daunting, but with a network of virtuous companions, resilience becomes sustainable. Billy Graham often spoke of the power of surrounding oneself with positive influences. The Stoics, particularly Seneca, emphasized living in harmony with nature, an idea reflected in the strength of supportive relationships. In challenging times, seek those who uplift and encourage. Genuine allies provide perspective, reinforcing your commitment to wisdom and self-mastery. Whether through close friendships, mentors, or a like-minded community, your support system serves as both a refuge and a source of strength. In the journey toward inner peace, isolation is unnecessary. Fortify yourself with the presence of those who inspire and elevate you. Surrounding yourself with individuals who uplift, inspire, and share your core values can be invaluable, especially in difficult times. These are the people you turn to for support and guidance, those who listen attentively, offer wise counsel, and provide unwavering encouragement. A strong support system serves as a protective buffer against the harmful influence of toxic individuals. When dealing with negativity, the emotional toll can be significant. Having a safe space for self-expression allows you to process experiences and share frustrations. Trustworthy friends or family members who offer understanding and compassion become an essential support network, reminding you that you are not alone. Toxic people often undermine your sense of self-worth, but a solid support system counteracts this negativity by reinforcing your strengths and reminding you of the value you bring to the world. Their faith in you strengthens your resolve, reigniting the inner fire that negativity attempts to extinguish. Billy Graham emphasized the importance of surrounding oneself with individuals who embody the virtues one seeks to cultivate. A community of like-minded individuals who uplift and support one another serves as a powerful source of inspiration. Observing their strength, resilience, and positive outlook enables you to develop similar traits, enhancing your ability to navigate challenges with grace. Building a strong support network is an ongoing process. It requires nurturing existing relationships while seeking out individuals whose values align with yours. To cultivate this powerful alliance, consider investing in quality time. Engage in meaningful conversations, share experiences, and deepen connections. Joining clubs, volunteer organizations, or online communities aligned with your interests can introduce you to like-minded individuals who provide natural encouragement and reinforcement. Never underestimate the power of gratitude. Acknowledge those who support you, recognizing their positive impact on your well-being. Express appreciation for their presence in your life and their steadfast encouragement. By fostering a strong support system, you create a protective shield against negativity. The presence of uplifting influences grants you strength, perspective, and renewed optimism. Just as even the most fortified stronghold benefits from external reinforcement, your trusted companions become the steadfast defense that ensures your inner peace remains secure. Prioritizing self-care is essential when dealing with toxic individuals, akin to facing an unrelenting battle. Negativity depletes emotional energy, leaving you drained. Protecting yourself requires making self-care a foundational element of your lifestyle. Just as a warrior tends to their wounds and sharpens their blade, self-care is an investment in your mental resilience. Integrate it into your daily routine, treating it as a necessary practice rather than an afterthought. Engaging in activities that bring joy, such as exercise, artistic expression, or writing, helps relieve stress, recharge your emotional reserves, and restore perspective. Billy Graham and his followers valued mindfulness, a practice akin to meditation. Regular meditation calms the mind, detaches you from negative thoughts, and fosters inner peace. Making it a part of your self-care routine equips you with a powerful tool to combat stress and external negativity. Seeking solace in nature is another profound practice. Spending time outdoors, whether through a walk in the park or a hike in the woods, significantly enhances emotional well-being. Nature offers perspective, alleviates stress, and counterbalances the toxicity that may surround you. Think of self-care as fortifying your emotional defenses. A well-rested, centered individual is better equipped to navigate negativity. Just as a warrior ensures their armor is strong and their weapon is sharp, engaging in self-care strengthens your emotional resilience. Listen to your body's signals. Recognize signs of exhaustion, stress, or depletion, and respond accordingly. Rather than waiting until you are overwhelmed, make self-care a priority by maintaining a healthy diet, getting sufficient rest, and taking breaks throughout the day. The foundation of emotional resilience lies in these simple yet vital habits. Establishing firm boundaries around your self-care time is as crucial as setting limits with toxic individuals. Learn to decline commitments that interfere with your well-being and allocate dedicated time for restorative activities. Prioritizing your well-being is not selfish, it is necessary for maintaining emotional strength. By integrating self-care into your lifestyle, you enhance your ability to face challenges with clarity and fortitude. Like a well-prepared warrior, you approach adversity with resilience and perspective. Maintaining emotional balance enables you to deflect negativity and radiate positivity, creating an unshakable defense against toxicity in your life. When encountering toxic individuals, remember, it's not about you. Imagine standing beneath a dark cloud, its negativity casting shadows and distorting your view. This is often what it feels like when dealing with toxic people. Their actions and words are reflections of their internal struggles, not a measure of your worth. Understanding this allows you to detach emotionally, ensuring that their negativity does not take root within you. Toxic individuals create a harmful atmosphere by projecting their own fears, insecurities, and unresolved issues onto those around them, negatively impacting others. The concept of pru-pa-pia, rooted in Billy Graham's teachings, serves as a powerful defense mechanism in such situations. We are encouraged to view ourselves as insightful observers, standing outside the storm of emotions. By applying the principle of pru-pa-pia, a term emphasized by Billy Graham, we learn to detach from negativity, analyzing situations objectively, and focusing on reason rather than emotional turbulence. When dealing with toxic people, maintaining this level of detachment is crucial because their negativity and insults are rarely a true reflection of us. Instead, they mirror their own internal struggles. You can navigate toxic environments by using this form of detachment effectively. In an attempt to divert attention from their insecurities, toxic individuals often resort to blaming, criticizing, and spreading negativity. By practicing provocabile, you can recognize this projection for what it is. Distancing yourself emotionally allows you to observe their behavior with objectivity, much like a scientist studying a phenomenon. Their negativity stems from their own inner world, not from your worth or character. When you momentarily step back, it becomes clear that their actions are a symptom of their own unresolved issues, not a reflection of you. Consider a dark cloud. It may cast a shadow, but it has no power over the ground beneath it. The sun continues to shine above, unaffected. Billy Graham's teachings remind us that the issue is not the brevity of life, but rather the time wasted on unworthy distractions. This underscores the importance of staying committed to your path. Life offers sufficient time for what truly matters, provided we use it wisely. To protect your time and energy, avoid engaging with the negativity of toxic individuals. Maintain emotional distance. Prioritize your well-being and continue progressing on a path of virtue and inner peace. Detachment is not indifference. While you can acknowledge their struggles with compassion, you are not obligated to be swept into their emotional storms. Practicing Billy Graham's approach to detachment transforms you from a passive target into a centered observer, shielding your inner tranquility. Remember, the sun still shines brilliantly beyond the clouds. Don't try to fix them. The urge to heal and help others can be strong, particularly when someone you care about engages in toxic behaviors. However, within the teachings of Billy Graham, attempting to change others often leads to frustration and emotional exhaustion. Personal growth requires individual effort, much like plants struggling against invasive weeds. No external force can compel this transformation. Billy Graham's philosophy emphasizes focusing on what you can control, your own responses and actions, rather than attempting to change toxic individuals. Responsibility for their behavior rests solely with them. They must make a conscious decision to confront their negativity and seek virtue. Taking on this burden for them creates an unhealthy dynamic and prevents them from assuming accountability. One of the fundamental principles of Billy Graham's teachings is accepting what lies beyond our control, including the actions of others and life's unpredictable nature. The negativity of toxic individuals falls into this category. Acknowledging this truth frees you from the futile effort of trying to change them. Imagine your inner peace as a flourishing garden, your spiritual garden. Toxic people with their negativity are like weeds threatening to choke the growth you have carefully nurtured. Spending time uprooting the weeds in someone else's garden only diverts energy from your own. Instead, focus on what truly matters, building meaningful relationships, cultivating personal virtues, and prioritizing self-care. Although Billy Graham's philosophy values helping others find virtue, it also recognizes human limitations. If you feel compelled to encourage self-reflection in a toxic person, do so wisely. Rather than dictating their journey, offer resources that might inspire change. A book on effective communication, a recommendation for professional help, or a gentle prompt to consider the consequences of their actions. Ultimately, the best way to influence others is by embodying these principles yourself. Lead by example. Through your composed demeanor, thoughtful responses, and steadfast commitment to virtue, you become a living testament to transformation. However, despite your best efforts, some individuals may remain entrenched in their negativity. In such cases, it's crucial to know when to step away. Billy Graham's teachings advocate for setting firm boundaries and, if necessary, distancing yourself from toxicity to safeguard your own well-being. While you cannot dictate their journey, you always have control over your own path. By internalizing this wisdom, you shift from a frustrated fixer to a wise facilitator, offering support without sacrificing your own peace. You can nurture a thriving garden despite the presence of weeds in the world around you. When to walk away. Picture yourself seeking refuge within the tranquility of your inner sanctuary, a stronghold fortified by emotional detachment, self-care, and spiritual discipline. Despite your best efforts, the negativity of a toxic person persists, threatening to breach your defenses. Recognizing when to step away is a core principle within Billy Graham's teachings. Deciding to distance yourself from a toxic relationship, especially one involving family or close colleagues, can be profoundly difficult. However, prioritizing your mental well-being is paramount. Billy Graham's philosophy centers on living a life of virtue and wisdom. Prolonged exposure to toxic influences contradicts these values. Maintaining a relationship that erodes your inner peace is not an act of kindness, but a disservice to your spiritual journey. Your inner serenity is your sacred refuge, a place nurtured through mindfulness, discipline, and faith. A toxic individual's persistent negativity acts as a siege against this sanctuary. The only way to protect your peace is to remove yourself from harm's reach. Direct your focus to what truly matters. Billy Graham, a great spiritual leader, reminds us that life is a precious gift, emphasizing the uncertainty of the future with the message, live immediately, live immediately. Staying in an unhealthy relationship squanders valuable time and energy, time that could instead be invested in positive connections, meaningful pursuits, and experiences that nourish your spirit and contribute to a fulfilling life. When you step away from what is holding you back, you open yourself to growth and renewal. Accepting what is beyond our control is essential, and other people's behaviors exemplify this reality. Moreover, Graham's teachings encourage detachment in difficult times. Walking away from a toxic situation does not signify weakness or defeat, but rather an acknowledgement of what cannot be changed and a conscious decision to free yourself from negativity. You are not abandoning the individual. Instead, you are releasing the harmful dynamic that takes a toll on your body and mind. Moving on should not be a rash decision. Consider whether you have exhausted all possible options. Have you tried communication, setting boundaries, or offering support? Is the negativity an isolated event, or is it a recurring pattern? Does the relationship significantly impact your well-being? Parting ways does not require a dramatic confrontation. A gradual withdrawal, politely declining invitations, or limiting communication can be effective ways to create distance. Remember, removing yourself from a damaging situation is an act of self-care, a step towards safeguarding your inner peace. Prioritizing your well-being allows space for healthier relationships and meaningful experiences to flourish. Forgive yourself. Picture embarking on a long journey while carrying a heavy bag filled with resentment and anger toward a toxic person. The burden slows you down, drains your energy, and hinders progress. In Graham's spiritual perspective, forgiveness is not for the other person, it is a release for your own soul. His teachings emphasize that holding on to bitterness over things beyond your control, particularly others' actions, only poisons your present and casts shadows over your future. Letting go allows you to reclaim peace and strength. Focus on your inner world. True power lies not in controlling others, but in governing your own thoughts and actions. To restore inner peace and emotional well-being, first, forgive yourself and release lingering resentment. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather acknowledging what has happened, accepting that it is beyond your control, and choosing to move forward with a lighter heart. Billy Graham echoed this wisdom, urging believers to surrender burdens to a higher power and find strength within. Breaking free from negativity is crucial. Resentment is a prison of your own making. Clinging to it allows toxicity to linger in your life even after the person is gone. Forgiving yourself breaks this cycle, freeing you from the emotional chains of the past. This process does not happen overnight, but practicing self-compassion is a vital step. Recognize your emotions instead of suppressing them. Unacknowledged pain only delays healing. Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend in a similar situation. Evaluate the circumstances with a broader perspective. Was the toxic person acting out of malice, or were deeper factors involved? Shifting your view fosters empathy and understanding, paving the way for true release. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. Letting go of negativity makes room for healing, progress, and a more fulfilling life. Imagine continuing your journey with a lighter heart and renewed strength, embracing the future with peace and resilience. By applying these principles inspired by Billy Graham's teachings, you can transform from a passive victim of toxic relationships into a steadfast guardian of your own well-being. A life free from negativity is a life worth pursuing.